Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible to all?
वालेकुम सलाम सर जी।
Okay, so your class is still joining. Please text in your WhatsApp group that everybody should join as soon as possible. Is the screen visible to all? Is the screen visible to all? Okay, Simra, I have seen your text. Okay, Faizan. Okay, Rafe. You guys are sleeping? सो रहे हैं सब, जाग जाएं. I guess you guys are in bed. तभी मुझे आवाज नहीं सुना रहे. जी राफे, I want to listen to you. Ansab, Ansab, Rafe, Faizan, Simra.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, on a lighter note, जिस दिन ये online class होती है, when do you guys wake up?
So 8:15, I'd say.
Okay. What about the others?
सर जी 4:30.
Okay, mashallah.
सर नमाज के बाद नहीं सोते।
बाकी शाम ये भी
Some are still in the bed, I'm sure. Am I right? जी मोहम्मद ज़ैफा कुछ कहने लगे हैं. Okay, Bilal, Aisha. Yes. So what were we discussing in the last class? Can anybody repeat?
सर सीक्वेंशियल सर्किट के कहते हैं ट्रुथ टेबल को वेरीफाई वगैरह किया था और वर्क कैसे करता है.
Yes, exactly. So sequential circuit, what do you remember from the sequential circuit? Like, what does a sequential circuit do?
पुरानी स्टेट जो सी होती है उसकी बेस होती है.
Yes, he's right. So we have this state table for the sequential circuit example that we discussed in the class. Here it represents the present state and the next states and the input and the output. This is the second form of the state table, where the present state and next states are written in the form where x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 1 cases are discussed in parallel. Like what happens to the present state 0, 0 if x is equal to 0, or what happens to the state x 0, 0 when the state is 1, when the input is 1. So the other method to represent this state table is this one, where this 0, 0, 1, 1, these states represent the states A, B of the truth table, and the zeros and ones represent the inputs. I can have the same explanation or the same thing repeated for this circuit. So we'll go for this one and you will add the explanation of this state diagram as a home task for your assignment. I've already given an assignment where you have to include the derivations of equations that we discussed in class, and along with those derivations or the equations, you will add the explanation of this state diagram. And how is it made? I'll explain this state diagram example, this in the state diagram example. So here you have a sequential circuit where we are using a D flip-flop. Please anyone tell me that is this a positive edge clock triggered D flip-flop or a negative edge clock triggered?
Sir, positive.
Very good. So how would you say that it's positive and not negative? Yes, you're right.
क्लॉक के साथ गवाता ना
Very good. Very good.
जो सामने पड़ा था.
So this is clear to everyone.
Yes,
This is
sir.
clear
Yes,
to
sir.
everyone. Okay. So in this case, we are dealing with a D flip-flop and a sequential circuit has been made with the help of a D flip-flop. Now let's discuss the cases. You have in front of you, people are still joining in the class. Please text in your WhatsApp group that all of you should join as soon as possible. This is quite annoying that when you guys jump in the center of the class. And I have just to admit you all and then join back. Okay. So let's have a look at the present state. We have only one state in this circuit, which is A, if it is equal to 0. And the inputs are now 2. Contrary to the case which we were dealing with over here, the input was 1, which was X. And the states were 2, the A and the B. But in this case, we have one state and two inputs, X and Y. So A is 0 and X and Y both are going to be equal to 0. What is going to be the output of this XOR gate?
Sir, 1.
Yes, sir. 0.
Sadia, why do you think it's 1?
Odd number of ones पे होता है ना sir. 0 तो कोई odd number ना हुआ.
Yes. So what is going to be the next input of this OR gate?
फिर 0 आएगा sir. फिर 0 आएगा.
Okay.
आगे output 0.
So this tells
Yes,
us that
सामने भी 0.
if you have 0 state, this is A, and you apply input 0, 0, you get back to the 0 state. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Is this clear to everyone? That what is this diagram, these arrows and the circles representing? The 0 represents the A state, and if you apply 0, 0 input, 0 gets back to the state 0. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Zujaj, you raised hand.
सर ये एक दफा दोबारा एक्सप्लेन करें ये साइकिल.
Okay. Let's have another case and then this cycle would be repeated. Let's say that present state is 0 and we are applying inputs 0, 1. So I'll erase the inputs over here and we have the present state 0 and inputs 0, 1 are applied. Okay, Aisha, I've read your text. 0, 1 are applied. Now what's going to be the output of this XOR gate?
1.
Very good. What is going to be the output of the next XOR gate?
1.
1. So A is going to change from 0 to
1.
1. What was the input combination that we applied? 0, 1,
0, 1.
right? So from state 0 to state 1, we can travel by applying the input state 0, 1, which is X is equal to 0 and Y is equal to 1. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Aisha, Zujaj, you guys asked about
Yes.
this. From state 0 to state 1, this represents the output. 0, the 1, the output. We have gone through the inputs 0, 1. Similarly, when it was state 0 and we applied 0, 0 input state, we got back to A0, which was the previous state. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Any confusions now? Abdullah, I'm not taking the attendance right now. The attendance would be taken manually today. I would call out the roll numbers and you guys have to say present or absent. And only in that case you would be marked present. Yes, Fazan, any question?
सर अब यहाँ पे हमारे पास A1 आ गया है, तो अब जो नेक्स्ट स्टेट होगी वहाँ पे हम प्रेजेंट स्टेट 1 लेंगे या 0 लेंगे in the truth table?
For the sake of this truth table is not in the sequence. This truth table is not in the sequence. But since you have said that, now let's move into the sequence. We can move into the sequence. So I'll take the present state 1 and I'll check for the next input states. Now I consider the present state 1. Now let's apply 0, 0. What happens to this XOR gate?
0 आ जाएगा सर और आगे 1 आ जाएगा, आउटपुट एज A1 है
Very good.
सर। 1 आएगा, 1 आएगा, 1 आएगा।
So this tells us that if we have reached at 1 and we apply input 0, 0, we get back to the state 1.
1।
Okay, Faizan, is this clear to you now?
अच्छा सर, अगर वहीं पे अगर 0 अप्लाई करें तो क्या नाम है, A पे अगर 1 अप्लाई करें और X पे 0 1 अप्लाई करेंगे तो फिर क्या इफेक्ट होगा?
Let's see.
फिर तो वापस अपने उस पे नहीं जाना चाहिए।
We have A is equal to 1 and we have applied X, Y, 0, 1.
यस सर, नहीं X1 और Y0।
X1, Y0. The output of this XOR gate is going to be 1. This is 1. This is going to be
0।
0.
अब ये समझाएं सर, अब क्या होगा?
A1 is going to equal to be 0.
A0, अच्छा A0 जो है वो नेक्स्ट स्टेट आई है, प्रेजेंट स्टेट A1 थी।
Yes.
ओके, समझ आ गई
This
सर,
is
थैंक यू।
1 and this goes to 0 if we apply 1, 0. Is this okay?
यस सर, समझ आ गई।
Okay, is this clear to everybody? Any questions? Any questions?
मतलब सर जो सेम इनपुट्स होंगी ना उसके ऊपर वो अपनी वैल्यू रिटेन करेगा, और जब डिफरेंट इनपुट्स होंगी एक्स वाई की तो फिर वो चेंज कर लेगा अपनी वैल्यू।
Yes, for the sake of this diagram. Yes, yes.
ओके ओके।
The only thing when you write a truth table is that in the truth table you write all the cases. Like the question Faizan asked, that now the state is 1, so do we consider the present state to be equal to 1 now? For the sake of writing the truth table is written in a sequence. Like you see, this all A is 0, this all A is 1. For all A is equal to 0, we have discussed all the cases of possible inputs X and Y. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Similarly, when A is 1, we again repeat for all the possible cases of X and Y. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. If there were
Yes.
3 inputs, X, Y, and Z, we would have gone from 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1.
8।
Yes, 8. 7, 1, 1. Is this okay?
यस सर।
Any problem?
नो सर।
Let's have a look at this sequential circuit, which is made of JK flip-flop. This sequential circuit, contrary to these two that we had discussed in the previous classes and this one as well, is not made of D flip-flop. This is made of JK flip-flop. Here's the truth table in front of you. here the flip-flop inputs are also noticed, the JA, KA and JB, KB. This is the JA, this is the KA, this is the JB, and this is the KB. Okay. So he says that we have present state A, B, 0, 0, and we apply a 0 input to the X. So let's say that A is 0 and B is 0. And a 0 is applied to X. Okay. Now tell me what's going to happen. Add this NOT gate.
So one, sir.
So a 1 over here. What's the input of this AND gate?
0.
The output of this AND gate?
0.
Good. The input of this J?
0.
0.
At 0, 0, a JK flip-flop does what?
No change. Yes.
It retains the memory. What happens at the Q in the previous state stays there.
Yes,
Is this
sir.
okay?
सही है, बिल्कुल ठीक है. Yes, sir.
So the next state of A is going to be equal to 0 as well, right?
Yes.
What happens to JB?
Yes, sir.
What happens to JB?
तो वहाँ पे 1 0 आएगा ना.
1,
J पे 1 and K B पे 0.
0, and a 0. So a 0 over here.
0.
So for JB and KB equal to
ये
1, 0,
set state है.
this is 1, 0, and this is very good about. This is the set state. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Any confusion still now?
No, sir.
So we are going to have B equal to
1 in the next state.
1. So A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 1 in the next state. What were the inputs of our JAKA 0, 0 and JBKB 1, 0? So this is 0, 0 and JBKB 1, 0.
Okay, sir.
Any confusion still now?
No, sir.
All clear? Yes, to everybody else who's sleeping or not sleeping, I want you guys to respond.
Clear, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's discuss a couple of more cases where we have AB 1, 0 and we apply input 0. So if AB is 1, 0, it is on the slide. So A is 1, B is 0, and X 0 is applied. What happens now? A 1 over here, a 1 over here. What's the input over here?
0.
0.
We get over here what?
0.
Add the J, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at A, are we going to have a 0?
तो 1 ही आएगा.
1 आएगा, sir.
जी, बाकी सब अफराद क्यों लग रहा है सादिया और इबाद को कि 1 ही आएगा? जुजाज,
सर क्योंकि 0 0 है तो उस पे पिछली स्टेट रिटेन हो जाएगी.
yes, good सीमा, क्योंकि 0 0 है, so it retains the memory.
Memory retain हो रही है sir.
Yes. Okay, Rafe, is there a possibility that you get your mic corrected? Like इसको ठीक कराने का कोई प्लान है? कब का प्लान है? Yes. Okay, I
Next
hope that you will do it by the next class. Oh no, third semester, nahi. Next class tak isko theek karaye. Or change your laptop or use somebody else's laptop or phone as well. Okay. Okay. So what happens at the JB and KB? At the JB, we are going to have input.
1,
Yes. And at the KB, 0
1.
and 1.
1
So this gives us a
ये ये लास्ट स्टेट आ जाएगी सर के फ्लिप फ्लॉप की जो कि ना सेट है ना रीसेट है ना चेंज आएगा आई गेस
No, J and K, if both are equal to 1, what happens at the output?
इंटरमीडिएट
No. In
Or
K
different
flip flop,
state.
we don't have a intermediate state.
चेंज हो जाएगा क्यू बार राइट
Yes. It complements the output. So if B is equal to 0, it would become
इट विल बी 1 1
yes. So at A1, B0, we are going to have at 0 input A1 and B1. Is this okay? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If you have a look at this diagram, if A is 1 and B is 0, and you apply X equal to 0 input, you get a A1 and B1 state. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
एक बार से रिपीट कर दें
In this state, we have A1, B0, right? We apply
यस सर
input 0 and we got A1 and B1. So we started from here where A was 1, B was 0. We applied the X input 0 and we got A1, B1.
एंड B1 यस
Anyone else who has any confusion over this?
सर ये ना बहुत सीधी बात है ये थोड़ी सी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सी है ये डायग्राम वैसे थोड़ा टेबल वगैरह से समझ आ जाते इससे नहीं आता
I guess this is more easier than the truth table, but once you get handy with this, this would get easier. Yes, Faizan, you have raised hand. You can ask question.
फिर यहाँ पे S0, S1, S2 and S3 क्या चीज है?
S0 represents the zeroth state, where if I can make this out over here for you, I'll try to write it in a good way. If AB is 0, 0, this represents S0. If A is 0 and B is 1, this represents S1. If A is 1 and B is 0, in binary this represents 2 as well. So we say that this is the state number 2. And if it is 1, 1, this represents state number 3.
इसका मतलब कि हमारे पास 4 स्टेट्स जो है वो यूनिक है बकाया मेमोरी रिटेन करने के लिए
We do not have any state other than the 4 states, 4 states.
सर वो ट्रुथ टेबल पे 8 है ना तो मैं इसलिए मैप करने की कोशिश कर रहा था यहाँ पे 8 है
Okay. Let me explain. The present state 0, 0 is repeated over here as well. The present state 0, 1 is repeated over here as well. So basically the present states are only 4. It is the combination of this X that is making them repeat. Because you can have for 0, 0 input 0. For 0, 0 you can have input 1 as well. These are the cases that we are applying to the 4 states. This is the state number 0. This is the state number 1. This is the state number 2. And this is the state number 3. And to each of the states, we are applying 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and 0, 1. And we are checking that what happens to their outputs. Is this okay? So basically we have S0, S1, S2, and S3. And we are checking that what happens to their outputs, where do they go if we apply a 1 or if we apply a 0. From each state, you can see that at least 2 arrows are going outwards. Why? because at least two inputs are applied as a must. Either it's x0 or either it's x1. So that's why two arrows from each of the bubble would must go out, because we are discussing for each of the cases two inputs 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If you have a look at this diagram, for A00000, A11111, we have only two states. Either A is 0, either A is 1. Here you can see that we have from 0 to 1 stage transition for 0 1 as well as 1 0. You could have made two arrows out of this 0, one representing the 0 1 and other one representing the 1 0. If I omit it from here, you get it? But we combine those two arrows and we write that 0 1 comma 1 0. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
In this diagram over here, if you see the state 0 1 0 0, what's this telling us? That if we have A0 and B0 and we apply input 1, what happens to the state?
रिटेन रहेगी.
Yes. Now let's see. If we have 0 0 and we apply input 1, what happens is A and B still remain 0 0. Is this okay?
Yes sir.
Any confusion still now?
नहीं सर, लेकिन अगर इनपुट 0 होगी तो फिर क्या होगा?
Yes. If input is 0 in this case, it is going to the state 0 1. Okay, let's see. If input is 0 in this case, it is going to the state 0 1.
सही ठीक है सर. अच्छा, ये जो सर सर्कल के अंदर लिखे हैं ये A और B है 0 0.
Yes, these are the
और
outputs, these are the
और
states.
जो ऊपर 1 और 0 लिखे हुए हैं वो x को जो हम
Inputs.
लोग इनपुट दे रहे हैं. सही, ठीक है, समझ आ गई.
Basically, before drawing a state diagram, you are going to, okay, somebody in your class has just tried to enter in the class using the name iPhone. Please tell in your WhatsApp group that I'm not going to allow such names in the meeting. Please change your name to that roll number and your actual name, and then I'll allow you in the meeting.
ठीक है
Okay.
सर, मैं ऑफिशियल ग्रुप में बता दूँ.
Okay. So the first thing that you need to do in the state diagram is that you need to identify the states, like Fazan did in asked in this question, that we have 8 combinations over here. Yes, we have 8 combinations, but how many states? We have only 4 states: 0 0, 0 1, 1 0,
1 1.
1 1. Similarly, how many states in this one? A is 0
और
or A is
1 2.
1. So the first thing, after you have identified the states, you write those states separately in these circles. Like you write state number 1, state number 2, state number 3, and state number 4.
Yes sir.
Now between these states, if you have state 1 0 0, you see that what happens to 0 0 if I apply input 0. This tells you from the truth table that if you apply input 0 to state 0 0, it goes to the state 0 1. Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, if you apply input 1 to the 0 0, this
1
gets
0.
back to 0 0.
1 0 पे चला जाता.
Yes, so you are done with the 0 0 state. 0 0 state के ऊपर दोनों inputs आपने try कर लिए. Now you check for the 0 1 state. What happens to the 0 1 state when you apply input 0? At the 0 1 state, when you apply input 0, you get 1 1. So if here I write 1 1, and I apply 0 input to this, I get 1 1. What happens to the 0 1 state if I apply 1?
1 0 state में चला जाएगा.
It
1
goes
0
to
sir.
the 1 0 state. So if I write 1 0 over here, the next input 1 moves over here. Is this right?
अब आसान हो गया सर, अब खुद भी बना लेंगे, समझ आ गया.
Is this clear?
Yes sir.
Okay, so the meeting time for this meeting is ending. Please join the meeting again, and I'll be taking attendance manually in that session. So please be very attentive. Tell everybody in your class that Mr. Hussain Asif is going to take attendance on call. So please be attentive and join the class as soon as possible in the next meeting that I'm starting just now. Okay.